Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and it is time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. The weekly comic book review is the show where I read a lot of comic books and I let you know what I thought about them. And we always start with the pick of the week, and this week's pick of the week is Magnus number 3. Now, there's another big book, and we'll get to that in just a minute, but I don't want you to miss this book. Magnus is amazing. This is issue number 3 from writer Kyle Higgins and artist Jorge Funes. They have been doing a phenomenal job on this book. Seriously, completely under my radar, came out of nowhere. I've loved it since issue 1. Number 1 made the pick of the week. Number 2 almost did. Number 3 did. This says something. This book is good. I love this book. This book has got the Rockin Robbie seal of approval, 3 issues in. It's a great, cool sci-fi AI type story. Fans of The Matrix, fans of Blade Runner, you'll love this book. It's really in the spirit of Philip K. Dick's work, for sure. This book is great. Amazing artwork with really, really cool stylistic choices of how to tell the story. And that is one of my absolute favorite things about this. The layouts, the pacing, the coloring, the simple, elegant line work, the complexity of the storytelling, of the graphic design, of the page layouts. Everything about this book is so well thought out and sophisticated, and this is what comic books can be, and it's an amazing book. And a lot of people probably are not checking out this book, and I really, really recommend that you do. Magnus is amazing. Pick of the week. Right there, guys. All right. Now let's get to the other thing. Dark Knight's Metal number 1 is here. First of all, I don't really like the image on the cover. I think it's a little boring and bland, but that metallic sheen to it is really, really nifty. Really, really cool. This book is all right. It's pretty solid. It's not pick of the week material. It's not as good as The Forge. The first prelude that came out for Metal was The Forge, followed by the casting. The Forge blew me away. The casting was really heavy on exposition. This is heavy on exposition as well. It doesn't have as much of an impact as The Forge did, at least on me. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. Overall, it was pretty solid. But, like, the opening, it's a little hokey to me. I don't know. I can forgive it easily because, I mean, seriously, it's all right, but it's a little hokey for me. I like how this book is very ambitious in that it tries to tie in all these elements from the DC universe that have been kind of in limbo for a while. Think about, like, the Challengers of the Unknown, stuff like that. Crazy things. References to Grant Morrison's Final Crisis in his Batman run, which most writers just kind of like leave sitting there, but like it's in here and it's a big deal. Snyder has taken a lot of stuff and thrown it all together to bring it back into Rebirth. And of course, if you haven't already had it spoiled for you, I'm not going to. But the ending of this book is going to have people talking. It's pretty nifty. Is it really that big of a deal? I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's nifty and it's cool and it's always exciting. That's what I'll say about that right now. But overall, this was pretty cool, solid event. Lots of intriguing ideas that it's leading into, but it's just leading into it. I don't think that for a number 1 issue, this had as much of a wow factor that it should have. However, I do believe that The Forge did. So if you think of The Forge as issue number 1 and this is issue number 3, it's a pretty decent, solid issue number 3 of the saga. Does that make sense? Anyway, I do like this book. Metal is pretty solid. I like some of the ideas on it. Capullo's artwork is all right, not his best. I think his early New 52 Batman stuff is some of the best work of his career. This seems just a little rushed, not too much, but there's a lot of cool ideas in this book, and they will resonate with an audience, absolutely. So you definitely want to pick that one up. Jack Kirby celebrating his birthday. We're about to have a podcast coming out very, very, very soon. Speaking of Magnus, by the way, we get an artificial intelligence podcast out right now where we talk about our favorite like robots and androids and computer programs of pop culture, and we also talk about artificial intelligence, artificial life, what it means, what it's about, all that crazy stuff. But we also have a Jack Kirby podcast coming out because his 100th birthday is this August. DC's been doing these Jack Kirby 100 specials, right? So now we have the Sandman special. Sandman is one of the lesser known DC creations of Jack Kirby. Even so by me, I haven't read too much of this character. This was weird. It was crazy. But what was really cool is that the artist does an homage to the classic Jack Kirby crazy, weird, realistic collage. That page right there. This book is worth it for that page. Seriously, Kirby fans know what I'm talking about. Overall, it's all right. It's kind of in line with the other Kirby specials that have come out so far. None of them have been life-changing, but they've been fun. And they've been nice throwbacks and nice tributes to Jack King Kirby. So there you go. Future Quest presents Space Ghost. So Future Quest has ended, and now it's continuing on as an anthology series where they're going to take some of these Hanna-Barbera characters and have them star in solo adventures. The first issue is out. It's Space Ghost. I was really excited to read this one. It's written by Jeff Parker. Artwork by Ariel Olivetti. The artwork is really cool and exactly what you expect from Olivetti. The story's kind of like all over the place, kind of like confusing to me. I didn't really get into this comic book. The story never grabbed me. It felt kind of generic, and I really did have high hopes because I loved watching Space Ghost reruns on Cartoon Network back in the 90s when it was first coming on. Not Space Ghost, but Cartoon Network. But really good, fun stuff, but the comic book just didn't really quite capture that for me, so a little sad about that. Batman number 29 is out this week. Tom King's Mr. Miracle last week I thought was amazing. I thought it was so good. His Vision book from last year was a brilliance, like manifested into comic book reality, in my opinion. I just don't like his Batman work at all. This issue really is another one that I just read, and I was like, I don't like this. I think all the subtext is super, super thin. It's just all so open and right there. It's all so obvious. It's all so boring. And the idea in this issue is basically that Bruce Wayne has set up a meeting between the Joker and the Riddler in the midst of this gang war that they're having, and they come and have this giant fancy dinner at Wayne Manor and try to resolve their... What is this Batman 66? I have no idea what Tom King is pulling from. Are there two Tom Kings? I have no idea. I'm not hating on Tom King. I think he's a brilliant writer. His Batman run, I'm just not seeing it, guys. Just not seeing it. Superman, number 29. So Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason have been doing a really, really good, solid job on Superman. They are not on this issue. Doug Mahnke is on the artwork, but you got Keith Champagne, I guess, doing basically a fill-in issue, but it's a fill-in issue done right. So don't be dissuaded because it's not the typical creative team. This is a really fun story involving the Yellow Lantern type stuff. And so Green Lantern / Yellow Lantern Sinestro Corps fans, you're going to like this issue for sure. It is a filler because it's not the regular creative team, and it's a story that may just be kind of a little self-contained, two-parter or something like that. Not really too much of a factor in the long run, but it is very enjoyable, and it was really, really fun. And so Superman's got the thumbs up this week. Aquaman number 27 is out. Stefan Sejic is now the artist on this book. The art's not quite as solid on this one, his third issue into the run, as it has been on the previous two, but it's still good and a vast improvement over Aquaman from the last year since Rebirth started. A big improvement on Aquaman since, Jeff Parker left right after Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns had a great run. Jeff Parker did a decent job for a while, then it fell off for a while with Cullen Bunn. Abnett's trying to get it back. The book does seem more focused. It does seem to have more of a direction, just a better direction for the character, for the world of Aquaman, and that's all cool. This issue is pretty solid. It's not bad. It's not terrible at all. It's a pretty solid, fun Aquaman comic book, so there you go. Green Lanterns number 29, an exceptional issue from writer Sam Humphries, and the artist was fantastic in this issue. It has artwork by Eduardo Pensica with inks by Julio Fiera and colors by Alex Salazzo. This book was really, really fun. If you've been reading Green Lanterns, it stands on the strength of the characters and the way that writer Sam Humphries handles the characters of Jessica Cruz and Simon Bass so delicately, so perfectly. It is a book about what it really means to be a Green Lantern, what it really means to overcome anxiety and fear. This book has become a must-read. The art on this issue in particular is outstanding. Really cool, luscious colors, really nice, full artwork that really just has a lot of explosiveness to it. The story is fun, typical comic book superhero fare, but just very, very well done. Love this book. This issue proves it yet again. Super Sons number 7 is the weakest issue so far of this series. I'm just going to say that. Super Sons has been a really cool book, a really fun book. I love Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent. I love their dynamic when they're together. I think they're a great team. This one, though, this whole story with the Teen Titans just didn't really hit it for me at all. Didn't really like it. The artwork's all right, kind of all over the place. The story's kind of all over the place. Too many characters, too many voices. What I love about this book seemed to be less in these last 2 issues, which is just basically Damian and Jonathan's friendship. So I look forward to more of that in the future. This Teen Titans story, this isn't the best issue. If this is going to be your first issue, I wouldn't recommend it. Go back and read issue 1. That's what I would do. Let's go over to some Marvel books. Generations. All new Wolverine. They call this the best. Because Wolverine's the best there is at what he does, right? Okay, so this whole thing with Generations is it's the new iterations of the characters meeting the old ones. They flash back into the past, pop in for a little adventure. They kind of reveal a little bit about the theme maybe that the book is going to take in Marvel Legacy, and then they pop back and it's over, and it's just a one and done story that doesn't really seem to have too much relevance, but they are kind of decent and nostalgic and kind of fun. But this one so far has been the best. Phoenix one's all right. The Hulk one I thought was pretty solid with some really solid artwork. This one I thought was the best so far. I really like this one. The story of X-23, all new Wolverine, meeting the old school Wolverine. Because let me tell you this, I love Wolverine. He's just such a cool character, and I miss him. I know you miss him as well. Old man Logan is cool, but he's starting to wear down on me. It's not the same as classic Wolverine. You get classic Wolverine in here. Classic 80s Wolverine in Japan, fighting ninjas, great stuff, loved it. Nice team up, some heartwarming moments, really tugs at those little, those comic book drama heartstrings. But I really liked it. I thought it was solid. The artwork was pretty good. The script by Tom Taylor was pretty solid. I liked it. It was fun. It's not going to have too much of an impact. It seems like the theme that they're going with now is going to be family. The Wolverine family, right? So I don't know. We'll see. But it was all right. It's pretty decent. Invincible Iron Man number 10 was one of the best issues of this series since like the first few. This book was really, really fun, really, really cool, very smart, and I really felt kind of inspired by Riri Williams in this issue. Thought it was great. Basically, she takes over Latveria, so you got this 15-year-old super genius kid who has declared herself the ruler of Latveria, how she deals with that, what she does with that temporary power. Really fun book, really solid. Bendis really nailed it with this one. I really do like it. Speaking of Bendis, Spider-Man 2, number 2 was out, and I felt this one was almost a little bit of a cop-out. I don't know, almost a little bit of a cop-out, Bendis. I don't know, that's just what I think. Who is Miles Morales? And he's basically telling you it's not really that big of a deal, but I get it. I do get what he's saying there. Maybe it isn't a big deal. Why would you be able to just to Google this random person and be able to find all of his information? But it is, kind of takes that cliffhanger from Spider-Man Part 1 and it kind of softens it a lot and kind of just negates it a lot. But overall, it's an alright issue. The Taskmaster stuff is confusing. Doesn't really get enough into the story though to hook me like an issue 2 should. Issue 1 should hook you, and Spider-Man 2 number 1 had a decent hook, but issue 2 really has got to sink that hook in further. This doesn't have too much hook sinking action, at least to me. I thought Invincible Iron Man was way better this week. Mighty Thor number 22 was out from Jason Aaron. Really, really fun story. Once again, the War Thor is spotlighted, and it's fun. It's great. He meets Jane Thor, which is really, really fun and great. It's another cool story, though, and it's the War Thor confronts Cinder, who is the ruler of Muspelheim now, the ruler of all the flame people, and the origin of War Thor is tied up into what is going on with this and her and all that right now. But it was really fun. It was intense. Had a lot of stuff in it that I liked. Mighty Thor's been a great book. Really looking forward to when it goes back to issue number 700. Mighty Thor's been a great book. Jason Aaron's doing a great job on that. Totally Awesome Hulk number 22 brings to its conclusion the Weapons of Mutant Destruction story, and overall this kind of felt like it dudded out on me. I got really excited at first just because it seemed like a really cool hype idea. These last few issues, there's just a lot of filler in this story because this story wasn't even the main story, but it did kind of start some stuff. This issue has a really cool moment where Amadeus Cho really just lets himself go and the Hulk takes over. And that part was really, really cool. Wolverine debuts here in his entirety, in the fullness of Wolverine, and it's interesting and it's all right and it's cool. It's cool. It could have been better though, but it was all right. It was fun, right? It was decent. Astonishing X-Men #2 is out from Charles Soule. There is going to be a different artist every issue on this one. Mike Diodato does the artwork on here. The artwork's pretty solid, pretty decent. The story slows down a little bit. It does. I'm not going to spoil the cliffhanger from issue #1 if you haven't checked it out yet, but it does elaborate just a little bit on that, not too much. It even confuses you a little bit more towards the end, but the artwork is solid, lots of throwback to the past X-Men stories. This is the book that I think X-Men fans are wanting, and I think that you will be pleased with this as long as they don't keep meandering about like they did in this issue. Like I said, issue 1's got to hook you, but issue 2's got to sink that hook in. And this had some decent sinking that hook in a little bit further action, but not quite as much as it should have. I'm just going to say that. And I also don't know if changing the artist is going to be a good thing for this story, especially when you read it. I don't know. I think stories should work as stories, and maybe you should have one artist per story. But that's just me. We shall see what happens. Speaking of X-Men, XMen Blue #9. Secret Empire tie-in, not the best issue of this series. Typically, I'm liking X-Men Blue. I still love the characters. I think they're doing decent stuff with the characters in here. Lots of throwback to fans, especially if you're a fan of Polaris and Havoc and X-Factor and that stuff from back in the day. I don't like the way that they're dissing on Marrow, though. I don't like that. I always kind of liked Marrow, to be honest with you. X-Men Blue this week's not the greatest, but it's all right. It's serviceable, right? Black Panther and the Crew #5 is a great spotlight on the character of Eden. There's one issue left in this. It's been a really cool, fun story. There's nothing that's super wowing about this story, though. His Black Panther, Ta-Nehisi Coates, the writer, his Black Panther has a lot of wow factor that's really, really cool. The Crew never captured that. It's got one issue left. It's a very intriguing story, very well written, clever topics that are cleverly discussed, but it just doesn't grab you the way that a superhero book should. But it's also not a superhero book. But shouldn't it be? I don't know. That's for another day, right? But it's all right. Luke Cage #4. It's all right. It's a pretty good, solid comic book. David F. Walker did an amazing job on Power Man and Iron Fist, one of my favorite books of the last couple years. It's over. They split Iron Man and Power Man, or Iron Man, Iron Fist and Luke Cage back up. They got their own solo titles, and I think they're weaker on their own. I don't know. I like the idea of the story. I like that Luke is confronting some stuff about his past and who he is and what he thinks of himself and how his identity is tied up in the identity of the man who gave him the powers that he has. I really like that stuff, and it's not a bad comic. It's a really good, solid comic, in this issue especially. But it's not as good as the Power Man and Iron Fist. We're missing that rambunctious fun that was in Power Man and Iron Fist. That's what I miss in Luke Cage. So Luke Cage is not a bad book, but when I read it, I miss Power Man and Iron Fist. Generation X #5. I decided to give this book one more shot because it really impressed me at first, and it starts losing me. So I gave it a shot on this single issue story about this eye guy. That was the name of a Power Rangers episode. Do you remember that? Back in the day. Anyway, started off really cool, intriguing, ended really dumb. Are you serious? This was the dumbest comic book I read all week. So I cannot condone reading Generation X any further. Descender, though, #23, I can definitely tell you, you need to read Descender. You totally need to read Descender. This book is absolutely amazing. It's a great space opera dealing with artificial intelligence because, the podcast is out right now. Check it out, popculturephilosophers.com. Descender is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, you really, really owe it to yourself to read this. Great colors by Dustin Nguyen. Not just colors, but artwork. Great, really cool stuff. With the texture of the paper that he's working. It's textured. It's like light watercolor. The artwork is brilliant. This issue's got moments that really are very effective. And so if you've been reading Descender, don't flip through this issue because it has moments that are going to, those kind of moments. Descender is a treat. It's amazing, from writer Jeff Lemire and artist Dustin Nguyen. And finally, I want to talk about Terry Moore's Motor Girl. In my opinion, Terry Moore's best work to date. 8 issues in, I am intrigued, I'm engaged, I love it. It's deep, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's silly, it makes you think, it's dramatic. It's awesome. This book is amazing. Read Terry Moore's Motor Girl. I'm going to throw a link down below to book 1 that you can get on Amazon and help support Pop Culture Philosophers and Rockin Robbie Billups, and that's awesome. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I'm also going to throw some links down below to the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, and company, their Batman work that leads you into Batman, Dark Days, Dark Nights, Metal, Forge, Casting, Metal. The reading list to get you into Metal. If you want to know where to start, what order to read it in, it's down below, as well as Motor Girl trade paperback link. Great books. Thank you guys for watching so much. Let me know down below, what did you read? What did you think about it? I love talking to you guys about comic books in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and this channel and your support. Seriously, thank you guys so much. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Come back next week. We do another weekly pop culture wrap-up this weekend, and a weekly comic book review next week. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thanks for rocking with us. Check us out for podcasts, blogs, and top 5 lists and a whole lot more at popculturephilosophers.com. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.